Emma, very good morning to you.
Morning.
I can't really describe what I was feeling last night when I was watching Donald Trump and Keir Starmer. It was sort of compelling television because it was so awful. I was just kind of going, huh, what's he going to do next?
From the moment that he sort of bounded out of his presidential car and was met by Trump and was just standing too close, everything you said.
And the smile.
And like, you're the first person I've properly spoken to since it happened because of the hours of our work. And I'm really glad that you're reflecting what I feel, that the papers have been very generous about this, that, you know, oh, this was a triumph, special delivery, all these headlines. I found it incredibly cringe. It was so clear that, A, Starmer has been terrified, and Starmer's team have been terrified about this for days. Yes, they've been... OK, of course there's strategising that always goes on before one of these meetings, but the wargaming, all of the kind of, OK, and if he says this is what how you react, the fact that he had to go with Jonathan Powell, with Morgan McSweeney, with David Lammy, the fact that he needed an entire team...
Lammy was sitting there saying nothing, right? What was he there for?
Starmer just was not in... He was not... He had no authority whatsoever.
No. And he barely spoke, did he?
He barely spoke.
Most of the questions were to Donald Trump from the press.
And he just held forth. And then Starmer sort of, you know, nervously giggled, touched him inappropriately.
The touching thing was really odd.
Really odd.
Reaching over to him and touching him on the shoulder. I found that really strange. We've got a load of clips, so let's start running through them and just seeing what happened. This is the one where I think he first touched him as he unveiled his pimped-up letter from the King. Have a check this out.
It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success. His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is truly historic, an unprecedented second state visit, and he wants to talk that through with you.
And that says at Windsor. That's really something.
Yes. What I haven't got yet is your answer. I do need to.
The answer is yes.
And then he takes the letter and says, thanks very much indeed. And then Starmer goes, you're supposed to open it. And then he has to open it and read it. And then he doesn't tell us what's in it. Doesn't read the actual contents of the letter. But there's too touching there. It's just, I'm sorry, you know, and he said, you know, the first state visit was a great success. Yeah, apart from the fact that Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, allowed somebody to float a plastic balloon of Donald Trump looking like a pig.
It was an
and apart from the fact that David Lammy, the foreign secretary who's sitting in the room, said that he was against the visit and that they should demonstrate against it, and the fact that Starmer himself said that he was anti-Trump at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And that was really all he had. I mean, to keep saying it's unprecedented, that was embarrassing. That was really, really embarrassing.
It was like a begging, it was like somebody from a terribly, you know, famous, you know, sort of third world nation looking,
to keep saying,
trying to go, oh, please, Mr. President, would you mind coming to visit us, because that would really help us.
And exactly as you say, Mike, Trump was we knew what he was going to do, which is be a good host, which he is, be charming,
polite.
He wasn't patronising, but he was on the verge of patronising to Starmer. He was kindly to Starmer, because Starmer was so obviously sweating, you know, bricks out of every pore.
But also he'd been obviously told by whoever his advisors are, make sure when you unveil the letter, and there's a slightly longer clip which shows him pulling it out of his pocket, and then tells him to kind of make sure you touch him as you give him the letter, and then make sure you touch him again.
He's awkward anyway.
None of it looks right, does it?
It doesn't look right, and at least Macron, he sort of does it in a Gallic way, which is like, stop touching my knee, you know, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Starmer anyway isn't good body language. I mean, you saw when he got out of the car, he stood too close. Trump was just completely relaxed and gave him a handshake and had come out to meet him, which was quite nice of him, because he didn't bother with Macron. And Starmer didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to stand. He didn't know how to... He doesn't know how to be, does he? He kept clutching people's hands in his clammy grasp.
Yeah, it just didn't look right to me. And I was sort of embarrassed that he's our leader, really.
I know,
that's kind
of course,
how I feel.
Of course.
You know, I can't help that.
No, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that he's on the world stage representing us. I'm embarrassed that he goes, you know, I mean, he just doesn't look the part. And the fact that Trump was sitting forward in his armchair the whole time, and Starmer was sort of cowering back, it just, the optics were not good.
Yes.
But also, in terms of the substance, Mike, I mean, people are saying, oh, it was a triumph. Well, nothing went wildly wrong.
No.
But actually, nothing much was said.
Right.
in terms
and I mean,
of
the Chagos line, which the Telegraph have gone with, saying that, you know, Trump basically backed Starmer on Chagos. I'm not sure that's not a bit of a stretch. I mean, he kind of said, oh, yeah, it looks like a good deal to me.
He said, it doesn't sound bad. He said it's a bit early, but we need more details.
Yes.
He hasn't said yes or no. In terms of the trade deal, there isn't a trade deal. He said that we will have a good discussion about the trade deals, but he hasn't ruled out tariffs on the UK. Right. So it's not as though Starmer's gone over there and got some big win at all.
No, not at all. We've got more clips, so let's go through them. There's one here on UK-US trade deal negotiations. Check this one out.
He was working hard, I'll tell you that. He earned whatever the hell they pay him over there. But he tried. I think there's a very good chance that in the case of these two great friendly countries, I think we could very well end up with a real trade deal where the tariffs wouldn't be necessary. We'll see. But he earned whatever they pay him. He earned today. He was working hard at lunch. And I'm very receptive to it. I think in all fairness, in all seriousness, I think we have a very good chance at arriving at a very good deal. JD and Scott and Howard, all the people are working on it, and I think we have a good chance at arriving at a deal that could be terrific, really terrific for both countries, okay?
Again, I always said that Trump was never going to put tariffs on Britain, but he just likes to make people sort of crawl to him.
Yeah.
He likes to humiliate people. He doesn't have to do the humiliation. They humiliate themselves. That's what happens. That's how Trump works.
Yeah, and it's very clear. He's not going to be involved in the negotiations. There will be detailed negotiations. They will push us hard. We will, we'll have to earn whatever we get. He's not saying no. He's saying, actually...
he's saying, give us, work harder, give us more incentive not to tariff you, basically, and we'll see what we can do.
He's saying we have a historically good relationship and we want to maintain that.
Yeah.
I mean, he really wasn't saying anything that any president wouldn't have said that.
No.
I don't think Starmer went over there and pulled off some charm offensive by any means.
No. I mean, Peter Hitchens said it to me yesterday. He said, this ridiculous notion that we have a special relationship with America finished during the Clinton era. It was very clear when Clinton allowed Jerry Adams to come to the USA when he was considered to be a dangerous individual in this country, gave him, a massively warm welcome and a White House reception, and then basically dismantled Britain's role in Northern Ireland as a result of it. It was very clear then that basically there was no special relationship, and so there isn't now. I mean, Thatcher and Reagan had a special relationship between themselves, but the two nations haven't had one really for a very long time. Let's have a look at J.D. Vance, because he was also talking up Britain over at the Munich conference about its lack of freedom of speech. Let's have a look at this.
Look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies, but we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British, of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and, by extension, American citizens.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
Yeah, really? You're very proud of locking people up for putting Facebook posts up?
Well, Starmer can say it.
Yeah, but he talks absolute
That's what I mean. He can say it, but he's locking people up for Facebook posts.
He's lying. He's locking people up for Facebook posts. We'll come on to it later. Mike Ainsworth, the MP, went and appealed his case yesterday, which a lot of people are asking me, how has he got an appeal so quickly? Was there any intervention from the government?
Why is he still drawing his £91,000 salary?
And why has he managed to get an appeal through so quickly, which has now meant that he doesn't go to prison, which means that he doesn't necessarily have to quit his job? Because the sentencing is below what the threshold is for you to quit your job. There might still be a recall petition and there might still be a by-election, but it seems to me that this is all about Labour trying to stave off a by-election so that they don't get humiliated by reform. But Keir Starmer, they're saying Britain's been very proud of its record on free speech for years and years and years and years. He's the man dismantling it. And when he says he doesn't want to impinge on American citizens, American companies, that's exactly what he wants to do. The Online Harms Bill says that they will clip the wings of places like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. That's what it says.
But more than that, he's locking up our citizens for innocent comment for literally just having opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he asserted himself a tiny bit there. Well done. I was talking to a body language expert who said, just look at Trump sitting there, legs apart, power pose.
His legs crossed.
Cowering, legs crossed like a lady.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like a lady.
Yeah, like a lady.
Yeah. No, like a lady.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let's not go there.
Let's not.
No. Absolutely. It was clear who was in control. And yes, Starmer spoke up. Oh, we have free speech in the UK. What does it mean?
Yeah,
it's like going, we had Shakespeare in the UK.
But he only spoke up because he saw Macron do it. And you could tell that he was coached by whoever it is that coaches him to do an interruption, because that's what Macron did. Macron did it with a bit more style, to be fair. Make sure you touch him, because that's what Macron did. You know, make sure you kind of,
I know, the whole
smile
thing was
all the time.
very staged.
It was just fake, and it was staged, and it was pretty sickening, actually. Let's have a look at him being interviewed by Fox TV, because in this clip, right, you will see that Starmer doesn't even understand that Trump was not just the 47th president, but also the 45th. Have a look.
Very good. Personally, we get on very well. We've met a number of times. We get on very well. And
you see President 45 different than President 47?
All presidents are different. They're all different. Like all prime ministers are different. But, you know, as I said, I think at the press conference, we come from different political traditions, but the president and I have got a lot in common. We get on well. I think we understand one another.
Is this what we're now down to? Like, we get on very well.
We get on very well.
Well, actually, Donald Trump couldn't give a stuff about you, mate. And also, the 45th and the 47th president are not different.
They're
the same person, you complete numpty. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It is embarrassing. And he looks like he's sitting there in a job interview, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he's trying to impress Fox News because he doesn't want to upset them. I mean, it really is pathetic. I'm gonna have to read some of these. Mick says, Starmer was like a ventriloquist dummy sitting on Trump's knee. Ginny says, Two-Tier was so cringy yesterday, waving his little special letter around like he clinched the deal of the century. What's Trump playing, though? And Gary says, morning, Mike. Not just me, then. It was embarrassing. The lefties are falling over him this morning as some sort of messiah. I mean, the thing that I find
think people are massively relieved. I think they're relieved. You could see the relief.
That he wasn't humiliated.
That it went okay, that it went fine.
But he was never going to be humiliated.
I know, but I think people were... because they were so worried about it, because Starmer is so lacking in any kind of authority. Yeah. He's not able to do these big things. Everything goes wrong with him. So I think they're just relieved. It's that feeling of, God, well, that wasn't too bad. Right.
He managed to get in and out of the Oval Office without falling over.
He just looked really relieved. And so,
But, of course, we know that it's all lies and disingenuous because half of the left, of course, are hating the fact that they're having to go, oh, Keir Starmer did a great job with Donald Trump. Wasn't it great that Donald Trump got on so well with him? They hate Donald Trump.
Hang on a minute,
They don't want Donald Trump.
Wasn't he meant to go over there and tell him to, you know, sort himself out on Ukraine,
yesterday,
sort himself out on Putin, and suddenly it's all fine and they've got a great relationship. But they hate Trump, as you say.
Yesterday, it was all about, well, Starmer's going to go and warn Trump that he better make sure there's some security you know, arrangements in Ukraine. He didn't do anything of the sort.
Of course he didn't.
And let's just remind ourselves of what Starmer really thinks of Donald Trump. This is from, obviously, before he was Prime Minister, when he used to tell the truth.
Of course, I wouldn't want Donald Trump round for dinner. But don't underestimate the danger to the world if Trump is re-elected this time around. I'm anti-Trump. I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States.
I mean, craven, hypocritical, lying, absolute and utter despicable behaviour.
And he's now claiming...
How does he get away with this?
They get on really well,
we get on really
and they
well.
understand
Here's
each other.
Here's a letter. Oh, actually, well, I mean, I should take... Well, I've got banana for you, Mr President.
It really was that sad.
I mean, it was really pathetic, wasn't it? Let's get a voice note from Ian.
Hello, Mike. What a blinder Sir Keir played. Secured his second term. Back of the net. Have a great day.
Yeah, secured another term for Donald Trump. It's just, I just find it so... I can't play this game. I know there will be people on other radio stations, on other TV stations this morning going, oh, didn't he do well? I mean, Dick Emery used to do a thing, that's one for the teenagers, you know, didn't he do well? It's just ridiculous. It's fake, it's hypocritical. I can't stand it. It's everything that I don't want Britain to be, right?
Absolutely.
Sucking up to somebody that you don't like.
Yep.
Now, I know he's a very powerful man, but there are ways of doing it.
You're right, and I would respect Starmer more if he'd said what he'd said in 2016 and gone over there and really, you know, socked it to the president.
right?
Yeah, or if he'd gone over and really stood up to him.
I mean, of course, the irony is I'm actually pro-Trump, and the people, the lefties that argue with me all the time, who've been telling me how horrible he is, are all going to be sitting down today going, wasn't it marvellous? Isn't it fantastic?
Of course.
You know, isn't Keir done a great job?
Even The Guardian seemed to quite like Trump this morning.
No,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It really is, because they're such hypocrites. They're dripping with absolute sanctimonious treacle. It is quite pathetic. I might have to get a bucket to throw up in the break.